Somebody get a camera on Gavin Suka. 5 touchdowns and a 66-21 win over Southwest Baptist. This Greyhound team 1 win away from clinching, a 4th straight conference title. This is Last Call. Caden Colford alongside Jake Helton. We'll be your guys today talking UIndy, NFL, Division I football, and the NBA when we get to it, that's for sure. But starting with these Greyhounds, another 60 bomb hung on a conference opponent. And Gavin Suka, now your career leader and single-season touchdown leader in Greyhound history. We'll show you the numbers here in a minute, but man, this team, led by this guy, what can't they do?
I mean, absolutely nothing. I mean, we're talking about one of the best teams in one of the best programs in all of Division II. Gavin Suka, 419 yards, 6 touchdowns, had an interception, but played phenomenally. I think that's the thing that you want to look at throughout the season is as the competition has gotten a little bit worse, you could say, his play hasn't gone down at all. He just keeps getting better and better every single week, and this is the second 60-point game of the season. The Greyhounds are rolling. They're the number 2 offense in Division II for a reason. I don't know that there's very many teams that are going to be able to stop them. We saw teams like Ferris State, who we thought was a unanimous number 1 team in the nation. They went to double overtime with Saginaw Valley State, so they're a little bit more human looking and a lot more approachable for Coach Keevers and the Greyhounds come playoff time. And you look at that defense, they struggled defensively. The Greyhounds are playing very well offensively. And as you look at the rest of the region, I think the Greyhounds offense is what's going to carry them through those games.
7 different touchdown scores. I don't know how many teams you can say that about. 7 different touchdown scores from the Greyhounds. A rushing touchdown from Gavin Suka. Rushing touchdown from Josh Keith. Colton Wilkie. Marquise Gillum. Garrett Sherrill. Elijah Wagner. And Caleb Carver. All with touchdowns. That's insane. And outside of that, you had 6 other guys catching football in the day. So when we talk about this Greyhound offense, we say they're good. I mean, you just have to watch the film on this team. Words don't do it justice. Gavin Suka slinging this ball everywhere over the field, and he has go-getters that can go get that ball absolutely anywhere. With a couple dudes in the backfield that get it done as well. And we're talking about just the offense here. The defense here against Southwest Baptist, who has one of the leading wide receivers in the country, in Kamau Ransom, holds this team to just 22, which is honestly, not to say it in a bad way, but one of the, I don't want to say worst performances on the year, but that's what it is to this point, right? This Greyhound team doesn't let up more than 1 or 2 scores typically. So for 22 points to be a somewhat bad game for the Greyhounds, says a lot about what they have to bring.
Yeah, and this was a no-doubter really from the start. Southwest Baptist scored on their second possession. The Greyhounds scored. It was 7-7, and then it was all Greyhounds from there. Really no doubt. But while the Greyhounds did their thing, a lot of things went around the world of Division II football. I mentioned that Ferris State Saginaw game, 51-45 the final score in that one. The number 1 team remains undefeated. But one team that fell, a Greyhound former opponent, Findlay took down Ashland. They were number 9 versus number 15. And you look at that score, 14-3, really just embodies those teams. 2 very solid defenses. Findlay scored twice in the first quarter. Did not score again for the rest of the game. Ashland ended up getting a field goal, and it was turnovers that made the difference for Findlay. I think that's what we saw they did against the Greyhounds. It's the same formula that's winning them games, and that's why they're the second best team in the region right now.
And so that tells me that Findlay's the real deal. We looked at Ashland when they were here in Indianapolis against the Greyhounds in a very, very close game. We go back and look at these 2 teams, and against number 20 Ashland at that point, Greyhounds won 33-26, and the week before they would lose at Findlay 38-35. Those were 2 teams that, in that game right there, you were watching very, very closely. If you're a Greyhound fan, seeing Findlay win that game, how's that shape out the region going forward in the playoff picture for the Hounds?
Well, there's one other big game that I want to mention. Number 16 Minnesota State blew out Augustana 45-21 against the number 5 team in the nation. They were the team right behind the Greyhounds in the region rankings. As we look over to those region rankings, the Greyhounds sit at 3, and that's exactly where they're going to stay. Findlay 1, Ferris State 1. There's no movement there, but it's behind them where we're going to take a look at because there's a couple GLVC squads that are benefiting from these losses, mainly Truman State. They sit at 7 right now with a high chance of moving up to that 6th spot, which would put them in a matchup against the Greyhounds. I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for if you're Truman State, but I know if you're a Greyhound fan, you're probably looking forward to that matchup, considering how the one earlier in the season went. As for Augustana, they're 9-0, but they just don't have the strength of schedule. They're going to drop back at least one spot behind Minnesota Duluth. They picked up a big win over Bemidji State, and they are now 9-1. So a lot of strong teams in the region, but I think the Greyhounds are one of the strongest, and they present one of the best challenges to the top team in Ferris State.
And you would hate to say this is the year, right? Because that's what you hear from every program at the start of the season. This is the year. But man, you look at a record-breaking quarterback. You look at a defense that is performing as stellar as they are to this point with one of the best skill groups in the country at every position. And I say it's hard to say it's not the Greyhounds' year this year.
Well, we'll mention two last things. With 2 losses in the top 10 behind Augustana and then Western Colorado at number 11, the Greyhounds are probably going to be number 10 in just a few short minutes. After we get done recording, we'll be able to confirm that. But they're looking great right now. They're going to be a top 10 team heading into next week against Upper Iowa, who is receiving votes, and they're number 9 in that region ranking right now, and they're playing for a playoff spot. It means that much more to them. The Greyhounds are going to have to come out and they're going to bring their A game because they're going to get Upper Iowa's best shot.
That's for sure. Upper Iowa with a lot at stake as well, Jake. With the conference swimming against the Greyhounds, they're also playing for a playoff spot, as you say. So that's going to be huge. Look back to this game against the Greyhounds. And how about a last call alum and Kamal Ransom finding the end zone once? And then while we're speaking about alums and former players, we'll talk Greyhound basketball for just a second. How about some presence in the G League? D2 product Paul Zelinskas came over to Indianapolis from Quincy a few years ago. You and I have had the chance to call a few games from Paul Zelinskas, and we saw his talent on full display here at UIndy. We saw it moving up to IU Indianapolis, and now with the Memphis G League affiliate in the Memphis Hustle, his debut seeing a 20 points outing on 6 for 6 shooting, 100%. And the announcers of the game loved him. They loved him.
I think we were a little bit surprised that he didn't go play pro right out of college because of his ability to shoot the ball. The play you're talking about, that corner 3, that's his game. He can snipe from just about anywhere on the court, and that's what the value he provides to really any team he's on, and we're seeing it now with 20 points right there.
Man, to see Greyhounds doing some stuff in the pros, cool to see. We're going to take a step up, look at Division I football, and possibly the catch of the decade after this on Last Call.
Okay, guys, seriously, basketball and hockey have got to be the best sports around. Speed, skill, drama, 7-game series, they have got it all.
Nah, baseball is the best sport, and that's just a fact, Jace.
You guys are both wrong. It's 100% football. You guys need to get on the football train.
Everyone stop. Why fight now when you can watch us debate on Grand Slam Sports on YouTube on Fridays at 6 p.m.
Mendoza in trouble. It's out. Touchdown. Wow. Omar Cooper. Unbelievable. Give him the Heisman Trophy now.
Was the left foot the first one to touch?
Oh my goodness, it's a touchdown.
Oh my gosh! He caught it!
The ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
Not much you could say about this, man. One of the best catches I've ever seen in my life. And it's coming in a Hoosier jersey on the football field. That's Omar Cooper Jr. Off a pass from Fernando Mendoza to knock off Penn State at Penn State to stay undefeated, to stay number 2. IU football, baby. Look at him. Perfect. And leading the Big Ten currently.
You know, you and I, we had Odell Beckham Jr. to look up to, the one-handed catch. The kids now, they're going to be looking up to Omar Cooper Jr. Or I think I said Odell Beckham Jr., my apologies. But anyway, they're going to be looking up to Omar Cooper Jr. because of this catch. I mean, absolute phenomenal footwork to have the presence to catch the ball in the air and then worry about getting your foot inbounds. I mean, he's proving why he is one of the best receivers in all of college football. I'll stand on it. He should win any award a receiver can win. I think he should be up for that after that catch. I mean, that's better than anything Travis Hunter ever did in his career at Colorado or Jackson State.
It was a scary one. We won't go without saying that, right? A 27-24 win over the Nittany Lions. But, Jake, I feel like The pressure and the criticism coming at the Crimson and Cream right now is almost undue. We're acting like Penn State was not ranked, top 5 coming into this school year?
Yeah, I think they were
Number
ranked 2. They were ranked 2. They're 3-6 now, but people forget that coaching staff doesn't change along with losing a head coach. Jim Knowles is still the defensive coordinator of this team. They're still going to be one of the best defenses in all of college football. We saw IU against one of the better defenses in Iowa struggle a little bit. We saw it again in this game. And the big thing that I want to point out is that interception thrown in the fourth quarter by Fernando Mendoza. That was possibly a game-losing interception. Luckily, he has an awesome defense that got him the ball back, got him the chance to go down and throw that awesome pass. And before that, the tight end made an awesome catch to make that even possible. So it's a group effort from IU, and it shows you that even when you don't bring your best game, once again, you can win these close games. That's good for the postseason, and when the College Football Committee looks at this, they're going to say, well, they're a little bit battle-tested. Maybe it was a 3-6 team, but this is more like a 6-3 team. The way they play, they come out and fight. They gave Ohio State a little bit of a battle in the first half last week. So when I look at this Penn State team and then I look at this game, I'm not really surprised by the outcome. I thought it was going to be closer than some people thought. I think a lot of people were just expecting IU to go out there and blow them out. But Penn State is still a solid squad. You don't want to see them come into season. But IU handles business. I think that's the most important thing is you get it done. You stay 10-0.
Exactly. And I think that you see a lot when you talk about battle-tested and we look at that Heisman race. Fernando Mendoza is a guy who was battle-tested yesterday and really showed out when he had to. But it obviously helps when your wide receiver can sky. That looks like a near 40-inch vertical there. That looked like a 36-inch vertical and then some. Go get that ball. Then have the presence of mind and the body control to manipulate your legs inbounds while you're falling out of play. Insane. It's a play we're going to look back on time and time again when we talk IU football. You know, you may never see an IU football team as good as this again. I know we never have, but as we continue to look at IU and what they have going for them this season, coming off their 27-24 performance, well, you have Wisconsin next week, and then from there, it should be smooth. Should be pretty smooth through the Big Ten. And you play Purdue in the Oak and Bucket game, then probably have Ohio State, the Big Ten championship.
That's what it's looking like. We are going to take a look at some college football rankings in a little bit, but one big thing that I want to mention because of that is how Nick Singleton performed for Penn State. He only had 71 yards, but he found the end zone twice on 10 carries, and I'm looking at these rankings. I'm looking at where IU's landing. That second-round matchup is looking like it's going to be against Notre Dame. It's just the way it's looking right now. Okay. Some of the initial rankings they have, that second game, IU playing Notre Dame, we've seen that the team that gets the bye, last year all 4 of them lost. So IU not exactly in prime position. And then if you're going to give up yards to Nick Singleton in a battered Nittany Lion offensive line, what are you going to do against Jeremiah Love in that Notre Dame running back room? It's going to be a tough game, but you never know how things will shake out in the college football playoffs. Fernando Mendoza, though, I think he did hurt his stock a little bit in the Heisman race, but lucky for him, every other quarterback that was even close to winning the Heisman played bad this week. It was just not a good offensive week for anybody in D1 or D2 football, really, other than Gavin Suckup.
Well, you talk about those college football rankings. Let's go ahead and look at them and look at the AP poll as well behind us. Ohio State at 1, Indiana 2, A&M, the only other unbeaten team in the country right now, and then you go down the list as the SEC has their stampede in Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and a few Big 12 schools and BYU, Texas Tech in there as well.
Lots of things to think about with these new rankings coming out. Apparently nobody wants to win the ACC. Louisville and Virginia, they finally get to the top of the ACC. They both lose. So you see them drop down to 19 and 20 respectively. And I wonder what would happen if they played each other. Who would win that game? Virginia. Virginia won earlier in the season. I'll answer it for you. Why are they ranked above them? Nobody knows. The AP poll makes absolutely 0 sense, but we'll move on. Number 12, BYU. They were number 7 last week, played Texas Tech. Texas Tech shut them down. They had no answers on offense. I think BYU might have just lost their playoff chance and even a Big 12 championship chance. As you look at, they were ranked 7th, as I said, but one team that really benefited this week, I think, is Texas. Texas moves up. Vanderbilt gets a win, which helps them a little bit. And then the SEC, Texas A&M is about to get into the meat of their schedule. So lots of moving around the SEC, which really benefits a team like Texas or an Oklahoma. They're all hoping that Notre Dame loses. They want that final spot. And even the G5 spot is in moving. Memphis lost, so now it's back to the University of South Florida is the favorite to win the G5 spot. Lots of moving in these last couple of weeks. I wouldn't trust any of these rankings coming out right now because it's going to change.
And as you say that, we'll take this with a grain of salt, but what does a first-round matchup look like for the 1, 2, and 3 seeds? Is it just a toss-up at this point?
Well, 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4 would be your buys. So you're looking at like Georgia to play that 12 team. You're looking at Ole Miss or a Texas Tech to play your 7 or 8, and then your 9. So you're going to fill in there. Oregon and I believe Notre Dame right now are the 2 teams at that 8 and 9 game. Winner of that would play Ohio State. It's kind of the big one that I'm watching because that's a big matchup. You might get a rematch between the former or the national championship rematch, or you get another chance to see Oregon versus Ohio State, which is always a fun game to watch.
And speaking from an Ohio State standpoint, which of those teams would you rather play? I personally think it'd be Notre Dame.
Really? I honestly, the way that Oregon is played, I think IU showed them that they're human. Iowa gave them a struggle. They only won off of a field goal. I think Iowa should have won that game with better clock management, but Dan Lanning finds a way to win games, and I think that might be the thing if you're an Ohio State fan you're a little bit scared of. But Notre Dame, I think you can get past that defense, which is what Ohio State is very good at. They can play defense, but they're going to beat you over the top with Jeremiah Smith, and that's what they're going to look to do. They did it last year in the national championship, and I think they're going to have similar success if they play again.
And it's been a while since Notre Dame has played that caliber of an opponent. You know, you take 8-9 weeks off. Obviously, you're still practicing and playing with that desired intensity, but you don't know until you know. You don't know until you're facing a Georgia or IU or Ohio State in the eye come college football playoff time, and you're duking it out the line of scrimmage.
And Notre Dame definitely helped themselves out this weekend with a big win over Navy. It was something they needed. Navy was 7-1, a solid team, but a team that Notre Dame knew they were going to go in and beat, and they went in and handled business and kind of ran up the score on them a little bit. So that's going to look favorable in the eyes of the playoff committee. And another team that's kind of on the edge that I'm going to keep an eye on is Miami. They're slowly working their way back into the ACC playoff picture with losses here and there. They currently have 2 losses. They're 7-2. I think they're going to continue to work their way up, and they might be that 11 team that makes it in. Granted, there's a couple losses in there, but I think they're going to be that ACC team that ends up making it to the ACC championship and winning it. Duke is another one a lot of people are high on, but I think Louisville and Virginia showed their true colors this week, and you're going to see those Miami and Duke probably come in and fill in that ACC championship.
With some snow on the ground here in Indy, we are almost at that time. Postseason football just weeks away, and we cannot wait. But the NFL here to stay for the time being, and we're hearing some rumblings about an MVP in the Circle City. We'll talk about it up next.
News. How much time we got? Okay. Coffee. I love coffee.
We're on the air.
All right. Good evening. I'm Chris Hammer, here to report the news for you. For your campus, local, and national headlines, UIndy TV News has got you covered. Wednesdays at 6.
Caden, Colford, Jake Helton. Jake's been looking at the MVP ladder right now for the NFL, and he's cursing his computer, saying, how in the world is Jonathan Taylor fourth? What names are you seeing ahead of him right now?
I don't care about the Jonathan Taylor. How is Drake May at the top of the MVP voting? I know people like Drake May. There's a lot of fan accounts for him on Instagram and all that stuff. And the Patriots are actually playing pretty good. They just went to Tampa and beat the Bucs this weekend, but I don't know that that's MVP caliber. The way that I see it right now, Sam Darnold is my MVP for Seattle. He's and Jonathan Taylor, those two are leagues above. I think Matthew Stafford might be the only one up there that I agree with. Patrick Mahomes, are we serious? Are we dead serious right now? The Chiefs suck. The Chiefs are just now getting back on the tracks. They'll be lucky to make – they're not in the playoff picture. They'll be lucky to make the playoffs. And Patrick Mahomes is third in MVP voting? What are we doing?
That's
Get it out of your mouth. Get it out of your mouth.
Okay.
Goodness.
Colts win 31-25 on the road in Atlanta. And Colts improved now to 8-2 on the season. Atlanta falls to 3-6. We talked JT, we talked Jonathan Taylor. Man, one of the best games that we've seen individually this season and in a long time. And when I say watch the film, how about you watch this guy? This is the longest run the NFL has seen this season. 83 yards down the field with a blockade as well.
Yeah, you see those two blockers down there. One of those, the rookie Tyler Warren. I mean, blocking all the way down the field, the effort's there. I think the big difference for me, though, while Jonathan Taylor played phenomenally, the big difference was special teams. Great returns all night for the Colts. They never started on their, well, I mean, they were about on the 40-yard line every time they started, and then you get the little shimmy right there from Jonathan Taylor and Bluey. It's an awesome day to be a Colt fan.
You talk special teams, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Amir Abdullah had a huge one right there in the closing minutes of regulation that gave the Colts a chance to tie the ball game up, go into overtime, and seal the deal from there. JT, he would have that game-winning touchdown. And as we go back to the MVP conversation, look at this guy. 3 touchdowns on 32 carries, 286 yards. And you're bouncing off of him with Tyler Warren, who had a great game in his own right, just under the century mark on 8 receptions. I want to go back to last week where the Colts fall to a team in the Steelers they should have not lost to at all. And I'm saying to Coach Shane Steichen, I'm saying this game needs to be on repeat in the locker room for the rest of the season. If you have the best player in the league on your team, give him the ball. Give him the ball. There is no world where Jonathan Taylor should see less than 20 carries in any game this season. That's just my opinion. Maybe if the Colts secure the 1 seed, I don't know. Maybe the Colts go and secure a bye. But until we get to that point, I want JT seeing the ball 25 times at least on the ground. At least.
Season stats, 189 carries, just over 1,100 yards. 6 yards per carry, and he's been in the end zone 15 times this season. I mean, this guy is a machine. He's getting into the end zone, doing exactly what the Colts need, and they win a big one here. I don't think they brought their best stuff. You're going overseas. It's always going to be a little bit different playing that morning game. The players talk about it, coaches talk about it, but you find a way to win. Now you're coming back home, and you got to finish off the season strong. Like you said, a chance to win the division, get the 1 seed, and potentially get a bye for the Colts. One thing I do want to talk about is the defense. I know there's a lot of Colts fans sitting there in the first half like, we just wasted 2 first-round picks. What are we doing? What just happened? But then Gardner figures it out. I think it's working your way into the system. It takes a little bit, especially on defense, learning the different coverages. I would assume that the Colts defense is a little bit better than the Jets, considering the point differential they give up is like 10, I think the difference is between how many points the Jets give up and how many the Colts give up. So coming from that, a little bit worse defense is probably harder for him to adjust, but he almost got that interception later in the game. He's finally settling, and I think you're going to see him get nothing but better as the season goes on. I think it was a great pickup for the Colts.
Yeah, Sauce didn't have his best showing on the 2-point attempt from Atlanta. I'm glad we don't want to show that film being here in Indy. But we do expect Sauce to be a great pickup. And really, if this pans out, you're going to look back on that trade and say it was Sauce, one of the best corners in the league, for a bag of chips. I really think that. I really feel that way. And I feel that Indianapolis does have that secondary that they need to go compete at a high level in the playoffs now. They can win the big game. And I think you got Atlanta's best game. I really do. I think you got Atlanta's best game defensively. Their tackling was really good up until that last drive where Jonathan Taylor just carved through the Atlanta defense. But also, Michael Penix Jr. did not look bad. Did not look bad, especially through that fourth quarter. He's really started to dot some guys up. So it's a good win over Atlanta on the road. And as we look at the Colts and the rest of their season.
Michael Penix just gives me flashbacks to that game where IU beat Penn State in overtime. Fun fact about that IU game, it's the first time IU has ever won at Penn State, the 3rd time they've ever beaten Penn State. 3-25 all time against Penn State, somewhere around there. But back to the Colts. The Colts do play the Chiefs this week. Big matchup. I was just talking about Patrick Mahomes sucking. It's time for the Colts to come out and prove that. I need the defense to show up and back me up a little bit. You got to support last call, guys. I know everybody faded my picks last week. I think I went 0 for 5 again. I did that once last week or last year. I think I went 0 for 5 on my picks. The Steelers suck. They scored 3 points. Knew it was going to happen. Should have picked against them, but I didn't. And
But you didn't.
But I didn't. That's the part that matters. Look at the rest of the season for the Colts. I see 2 or 3 games that I'm worried about. The Chiefs, the Seahawks, and then the 49ers. But as the season goes on, I'm less and less worried about the 49ers.
Well, you also got 2 games against the Jaguars. Now, look, I understand that this Colts team is better than in years past, but there is always one game against Jacksonville.
I don't think so.
Typically in Jacksonville where, we go and screw the pooch, as they say.
Not this year. This is the year. The curse ends. They won the first game of the season this year.
This is a new
the curses
team.
are done. This is a completely new team. You got to throw history away sometimes. Sometimes you got to forget history to make new history.
Forget history to make new history. Okay. So with the Seahawks, Chiefs, 49ers, those being those 3 games, let's go Colts.
Yeah,
Let's go Colts. Let's go JT, Tyler Warren, Daniel Jones. You see his mouth? You see Daniel Jones' mouth? This guy's bleeding for the cause. This guy's a winner.
Looks like Conor McGregor out there. I mean, it was bloody to lip and everything. He looks like a dog. That picture that Pat McAfee posted was awesome. But the Colts, we talked about it last week, and I think the week before that, there's a good chance that they end the season with just 4 losses. I think we're standing strong with that stance. At least I am. I'm going to say it come into season. I say the Colts drop 1 to the Jags, drop 1 to the Seahawks.
Just realistically, right?
I'm going to.
But they are going to knock off the Chiefs.
I know I just said that they weren't going to, but the more I think about it, the more that curse it just always gets you when you least expect it, and I think that's why it's going to come back this year again. But Colts on top of the division, in my opinion.
It's not an opinion, it's fact. It's fact now. But let's talk about the Pacers, who, have seen better days. Pacers are, one for whatever at this point. But you're playing your practice squad.
Seems like it. You score 83 points, you might as well. They might as well put the not the Mad Ants, the Noblesville Boom out there. They probably would have a better chance. At least some of the two-way players in the preseason were playing better, in my opinion. Bringing back Quentin Jackson, I think he's hurt or whatever, but Pacers are just dealing with injury. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. The Pacers are just riddled with injury, cannot get through a game without losing a player, it seems like. But come about, I don't know, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks is when everyone's kind of coming back. They're all supposed to come back around the same time. We might see a little bit of pickup, but Pacers just look sorry right now. Carlisle is not rallying the troops very well without Tyrese Halliburton. You thought this was going to be a year of I think 6 or 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals where it was just the backup scoring all the points. We thought it was going to be like that this year, but it has just not been that at all. Turns out Miles Turner might have been a loss.
No, throw that out the window. What are we saying?
I don't know. I know the Bucks have a positive record.
This is not because Miles Turner is not here, okay? This is because Tyrese Halliburton, who led this team to the finals, got injured. Hey, Johnny Furphy's hurt too. That's the whole culture of this team. That's the whole culture of this team. And we look down the list, and we're seeing guys like Jeremiah Robinson Earl play 32 minutes for the Pacers.
Trace Jackson Davis score?
Yes, Trace Jackson Davis did score. Trace Jackson Davis had a 4-point outing against the Pacers. And I'm not going to accept any slander on Trace Jackson Davis. But, I mean, he did outperform a lot of Pacers today. But look, you're getting solid reps from Andrew Nembhard, 14-9. But realistically, when you're missing your entire roster, it's just not going to translate to wins. It's just not. Pacers in a spot right now, and one thing I will say is it's a little fishy that the Fever and the Pacers are seeing this exact same problem at the same time. And what I mean by that is I think we need to start looking at the training programs and the diet programs, everything like that, because seeing 2 entire rosters be completely flipped on their backside due to injury, while a lot of it is just bad timing and inconvenience, it is something you need to look at. And that's
definitely something that could be improved. I mean, you see this many players going down, you might want to put a little bit more money into something like that. But as you look at this game, it wasn't a blowout. I think it was a 5-6 point game heading into the fourth quarter. They gave up 39 points in the fourth quarter. You're not going to win any game doing that. You're not going to win a single basketball game if you give up 39 points in the fourth quarter, unless you're already up by 40. It's the only way you're going to win that game. So the Pacers right now, they just need to find some identity. They're not playing defense well. They're not scoring the ball well. Last year we saw them. It was the fast breaks that really helped them, and then they were playing solid half-court defense. we're just not seeing that this year. They don't have an anchor on this team, and partially due to all those injuries, I think. But as the season goes on, we're going to need to see something out of this team, some sort of life, or they might get investigated by the FBI. Seems like everybody's getting investigated these days. They need to investigate whoever faded my picks. I'm dead serious about that. I'm very unhappy about going 0-5.
Well, let's talk about it. We'll get to it, okay? Pacers 1-9 in their first 10, long season left to go. We'll write it off as whatever, bad luck. But into the Primetime Pick Em. Caden and Jake, since apparently didn't have so great of a week, I'll let you go first. Spurs at Bulls is our first game.
Well, I got a new strategy. I'm going to fade my own picks from now on.
Okay.
So I was going to pick the Spurs. I'm going to pick the Bulls.
Okay.
Shout out Liam Blaze. I'm going to fade my own pick and go with the Bulls.
Hey, that's a Last Call alum over there at Sports Center right now, and I'm sure he loves you picking the Bulls. But I'm sure he's also going to hate watching the game when Victor Wembanyama tears up Chicago in Chicago. Count it 1-0 Caden going to the second game. Pacers at Jazz. Maybe we could shake things up against Utah. They're not amazing.
I'm going to stick with my faves. I'm going Pacers.
Okay, I'll take Utah. I'll take Utah. That's fine. Third game.
Stick with it.
Lakers at Thunder. Bron's still not back to this point, but Luka, AR, everybody else performing just as well as they need to. Thunder still one of the best teams in the league. I don't know if they're as good as last year, but they're still one of the best teams in the league.
This is about as coin toss of a game as you can get right now. Both squads are kind of up and down. One game they'll play phenomenally.
You're going Lakers? The Lakers. I like the Lakers.
I'll go Thunder. I'll go with Mr. 35 free throws. I like it.
Hey, 35 free throws end up in a win a lot of the time. Won't this week, but a lot of the time it will. We'll move to football now and talk Eagles. They're going to Green Bay, playing at Lambeau. Two of the best teams in the NFC. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Packers are not going very well right now, and I'm going to go with the Eagles. I don't think they're – well, last time you said – nope, sticking with the Eagles. Going Eagles. Definitive answer, the Eagles are going to win this game.
Okay. And now, finally, Ravens got to win.
They got 3 in a row, actually. They're now back into playoff contention. They got Lamar back. The Ravens suck. The Browns suck. Shout out Nate Long, but the Browns suck. I don't think they win this game. I'm going Ravens.
We'll call it Ravens. Let's look at the record. Did you go 0-5 last week? Are you positive?
Serious. I'm not 100% sure, but
I was a game down last week.
Might have got one right, but yeah, you got 2 on me at least. So
hey, we're
that
in a
just
good
means
spot.
this week is my week. Now I'm due. That's how it works. Now
you're due.
I'm due.
I'm
hitting all 5.
I was down for a while, so that means I got to be up for a while.
I don't think so. You want some picks? Go ahead and pick these. I faded my own picks this week,
okay.
So these are the ones that you're going to want to pick this week. 5-leg parlay wins you about $1,000.
$1,000 could be yours. Find out if you're a winner next week on Last Call.